Hi, everybody. It is the 9th of August, 2026, and I hope that you're in an area of the country where the temperature is not way high. It's 96 degrees here, and the sun is magnificently hot. Don't we know it? So, I hope you are all doing well, aside from the heat and the severe weather. So, I hope Digna Ortiz comes in tonight because he lives in an area where they got a tornado last night, yesterday. Okay, really? An area where I used to work. Tornadoes don't happen there. So, Tony, hi, and Andrew, and Jane Northrup, and Chrissy, and Amelia, hi. Finally got a half hour of rain in Taos, New Mexico. You live in Taos, New Mexico? I lived off the grid, Mesa. Um, oh, I loved it. I loved it. I'm envious, Amelia. Marsha, hello. Rage Against the Machine. Marsha. And Magnus Good. And Kathleen. Did I say hello, Kathleen? Well, hello, Kathleen. Oh, my brain. JT. Hello. Okay. Doing the best you can, sicker than a dog for 2 days, along with several others in your apartment complex. Wow. Okay. I'm so sorry to hear that. Wow. So let's do radar. Now, look at what's happening in Indiana. Look at what's happening across states. You got Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, all in a line, all of those lovely nanobot activations. Mississippi, Alabama, North Georgia, South Georgia, Florida, and also up here in Virginia, Tennessee, the very northeast of Tennessee, North Carolina. Okay, well, as we've been saying, this severe weather just continues on, right? Continues on. And we've got the circling dots, which is generally the case for the Four Corners in Nevada. This is what we see. Okay, what do we see in Nebraska? We see a lot of frequency activity. We see frequency activity right here. Right here. Oh, very obvious. But hardly ever do you hear anybody talking about the frequencies that affect weather. It can move weather fronts. It can intensify weather fronts. It can modify. It can evaporate precipitation weather fronts. So we have 10 active severe weather warnings for Alabama, Indiana, Kansas, Nebraska, Virginia, and Wyoming. Okay, got a wee bit of a bot activation, I should say. Alabama, Indiana, Kansas, Nebraska, Virginia, Wyoming, and you can take a look at all of the counties. And I did put the link in to this severe weather alert page. And if you're in any of these counties, right here, look at the screen. If you're in any of these counties, you might want to click on the link and go to show me the full warning so that you know what is coming to you. Weather-wise, still flood warnings: Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Western North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, North Georgia, right on up here. You got Illinois, Indiana, into Ohio. You've got Utah and Arizona, into New Mexico, into Nevada. Okay, so weather-wise, link is in the chat as well. And let's get right to it. Okay, Sister G, hi. Oracle 11. Do we have Digna Ortiz? Oh, I hope Digna Ortiz, if we don't have him, yeah, or her, oh golly. If Digna Ortiz is not in the chat, I hope that Digna Ortiz is okay. He was in the chat yesterday. He mentioned that where he lives, Springfield, Massachusetts, really got hit hard. And I just hope that Digna is okay. Another Weather Channel. Dare I play it? I'm just going to play it for a few minutes. Alrighty then. Okay, be careful.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh my God, bendito.
Thank God, bro. Yeah, that's definitely what we're talking about. Yeah, definitely.
So the top of this building collapsed and 45 residents displaced.
So right here, scooter right there.
Wait, what did they get to do there?
Wow.
What did they get to do with the ramp?
Ya cayó
Two
dentro del
cars.
cristal, cabrón.
2 cars, 2 trees.
Western Massachusetts, including Springfield, was hit by severe thunderstorms that brought damaging winds, downed trees and power lines, widespread outages, and structural damage. Springfield saw one of the most serious incidents when part of a building collapsed, displacing 45 residents. Nearby communities also reported storm damage, utility disruptions, and strong wind gusts as crews began clearing debris in neighborhoods locally.
This is where I practiced law, and I have to tell you, never, ever, ever, never wouldn't have even dreamed that this could happen. But it happened. And not just to Springfield, but West Springfield, Agawam, a whole lot of different, a whole lot of areas in Western Massachusetts. You know, so, okay, I will post the link. Lots of cars got trees on them, power outages, of course, you know, trees falling onto homes as well. But, you know, this is a regular occurrence now all over the country. There are, you know, what's happening, even when we see tornadoes in Tornado Alley, when we see so many of them, when we see repeats of them, when we see them, oh, it's not tornado season, but hey, let's just shoot off 10, 15 tornadoes, in one state. All of this is unprecedented. All of it. Takes up the entire sidewalk. You would think that maybe the sidewalk would have kept the tree in place. Nope. No. And this is the building. Yeah. So, not a fun time for an awful lot of people. And this here. So I'm going off what Digna said, that it was a tornado. But during the sudden storms that quickly swiped through western Massachusetts, thousands of residents quickly found themselves dealing with power outages, storm damage, and even a collapsed building. A collapsed building. 45 residents out of their homes. It just goes on and on.
Severe weather ramming across parts of our area Saturday afternoon. Torrential downpours, even high winds that caused a significant amount of damage in several towns and cities. Among all of that, as you can see in this drone video, a partial building collapse in Springfield South End neighborhood, displacing nearly 4 dozen people. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Western Mass News at 7 a.m. I'm Madison Listowski. We're bringing you team coverage this morning.
Madison, good morning to you. This is quite honestly a shocking scene that is right behind me. We did just see that a drone video just moments ago that gave us a bird's eye view of that roof collapse. But what we're seeing on the ground right now is probably even more shocking. I'm just going to get out of the way. These are live pictures here on Western Mass News. These are the Outing Park building complexes. I believe this is building 2 of this complex here in the South End neighborhood of the Dwight Street extension, and you can see just how much damage there is from top to bottom. Right here on the bottom, so much debris all over the place. The building has been taped off with yellow tape. We can see right here, right at the top, there is a window, at least one window that has been almost completely blown out. And then there is part of that roof that is right now hanging off of this building. Just an unbelievable scene and an incident that has displaced a number of residents.
Oh yeah, Westfield, Longview, all over. Hatfield, Smith Academy. Something burned up. Maybe it was lightning hitting it. Well, an exciting time for a whole lot of people. Yeah. So this went from so many different, just pointing out, when you hear mainstream media covering one particular area over and over and over and over again, know that the surrounding towns and cities also got it. So here, Westfield, Agawam, Springfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow. Did I say Longview? I did. Longmeadow. Several other communities. Not sure why no one's talking about it, but a definite tornado ripped through the downtown Six Corners neighborhood. East Longmeadow got hit hard. All right.
This was once an auto body shop here.
Now, Digna said that yesterday that tornadoes just don't happen here. 15 years ago, this tornado, which I certainly, posted on a lot because this doesn't happen. Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts, Springfield, downtown, And it was huge. And it was very clear. There were so many different signatures that made it clear that it was manufactured, not natural. So this is a news, this was 15 years ago.
This was once an auto body shop here, just a few blocks north in downtown Springfield, Massachusetts. But now rims have been displaced, building blocks toppled like dominoes. And as you can see, the building absolutely destroyed. Again, 4 confirmed fatalities this morning, at least 2 deadly tornadoes ripping through this part of the state, at least 7 through central and western Massachusetts. And again, it was disaster that struck suddenly.
The twisters came during rush hour to Massachusetts' 3rd largest city. This one caught on tape, sucking water from the Connecticut River and hurling debris hundreds of feet into the air. Watch as the tornado moves over a bridge, completely engulfing the cars trying to pass as residents ran for cover.
You can hear the debris hitting cars, windows, alarms started going off.
The damage in Springfield is visible from the air this morning. Altogether, 7 possible tornadoes were reported in Massachusetts Wednesday.
We moved immediately to mobilize into life-saving methods with our police department and our fire department, and our major goal was search and rescue.
More than 20 communities were hit. In Monson, this church's steeple smashed. In Southbridge, homes were lifted from their foundations. And all over New England this morning is a tangled mess of downed power lines, snapped oak trees, flattened cars, and destroyed homes.
It was very scary, only because you didn't have anywhere to go. And you didn't know what was going to land on your car and what wasn't.
Massachusetts. You know, tornadoes here, there, and everywhere. And Massachusetts is not in Tornado Alley. This was 15 years ago. Okay, so highly unusual and obviously manufactured. And if I had my Never Lose Truth channel, I'd go through my weather modification. Oh no, that was Kafka Winston World. Okay, forget it. That channel came down. Forget it. Typhoon Dolphin. Philippines again. Manila. Okay. This is really sad. What's happening to so many people all over the world. And over and over and over again do they experience in the Philippines. Now, Philippines, yeah, they're, but nothing like what they've been hit with. Nothing like what they've been hit with in the recent years. And Italy again.
Severe weather has won.
Italy again. Italy again. Really? Flooding? Verona? Oh, God. Severe weather, flash flooding, flooding of homes, basements and shops. And the hail. Then the hail came. Then the hail came, making it look like it is winter time. So, oof, man, this is...
Hey, James.
Oh, and Tuscaloosa, I don't think I covered this. This was 8 days ago. Alabama, this kind of flooding in Alabama, Tuscaloosa. Now I'm nervous about playing, any weather videos, these weather channels, because I got the copyright strike from Revenge of Nature, which is so bizarre, because all of these channels put together so many different videos. They're a compilation. Do you think that they got permission from every single person? They didn't. They didn't. They took it from wherever they got it from, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. But really, I didn't know. And Alabama is, having severe storms again. Alrighty then.
We want to turn out to some breaking news at the
Why won't I click it, and it won't stop? Malden, another area of Washington, south of Spokane.
This hour tonight, and thank you for trusting KREM 2 as your news source this Saturday. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, the town of Malden is in a go now level 3 evacuation for a 600-acre wildfire burning near the area of John Ty Road. The town of Rosalia, which is just east of Malden, is now under a level 2 get ready order. William Pitts has the latest we know at this hour tonight.
We're just a couple of miles outside the town of Malden, and Whitman County has been stopping traffic on this road to keep everybody safe. Take a look behind me at what we're dealing with here. We've got some fields that have been on fire for a little while as we've been standing here. And just a few minutes ago, we got the emergency alert on our phones to evacuate, level 3 evacuation for the town of Malden, and for Rosalia to be on ready. We've seen a couple of fire crews go by here heading into that.
Is this part of the road, or is this from the fire, this black on the side of the road? Because these fires look very, very strange, and they don't look like wildfires for sure. Wildfire, really? Okay, this looks more like a grass fire. And underneath, fire coming from underneath. Jeff Snyder 2, check out his channel. He talks about the plasma fires coming from underneath.
Trucks, water trucks, also to go over there and help put those fires out. Now, again, the town of Malden is just on the other side of that corner. We're not going to go over there because that's where all of the smoke is. It's obviously very dangerous over there. A couple of brush trucks we've also seen go by here is burned 80% back in 2020.
So this was a fire 6 years ago. And look at this. You know, again, dust, but a whole lot of trees around. Okay, so
we saw helicopters landing on the golf course in Burbank,
California. Firefighters battle 3 brush fires across Southern California. Evacuations on, I think, the Holzer fire or maybe another one.
firefighters battling triple digits and that now suspicious cause of a fire in Santa Clarita.
The Holzer fire started just after 1 o'clock on the Ventura County line. Then it was the Walnut fire near the DeBell Golf Course in Burbank, followed by the Tasha fire in Santa Clarita just before 6 p.m.
Our Keenan Willard is live in Burbank, where investigators say the Walnut fire began. Keenan.
Yeah, we're on Harvard Road right here, and you can see the source. According to investigators, Burbank Fire saying that car crashed veering off the street here into the brush around 3 o'clock this afternoon. They don't know whether the car burst into flames or whether the crash just sparked a fire. But regardless, the flames traveled up the hillside, traveling eventually some 40 acres here in the hills above Burbank, causing a lot of concern. People seeing these flames approaching within just a few hundred feet of their homes this evening. A very concerning few hours here. Unfortunately, one of just 3 fires that took place that started in our area today.
So it traveled up the hillside. But I guess that's it. And maybe a very narrow portion of these rock. It doesn't seem to have affected, well, maybe just the bottom of this tree. I don't know, but
they don't know whether the car burst into flames or whether the crash just sparked a fire, but regardless, the flames traveled up the hillside, traveling eventually some 40 acres here in the hills above Burbank, causing a lot of concern. People seeing these flames approaching within just a few hundred feet of their homes this evening. A very concerning few hours here. Unfortunately, one of just 3 fires that took place that started in our area today.
In Ventura County, Santa Clarita, and Burbank, a series of brush fires breaking out across Southern California today, all leading to evacuation warnings.
I got a text from one of the neighbors saying there was a fire on the hills, and so we all came out.
This was the Walnut fire, which burned 40 acres in Wildwood Canyon above Burbank. Fire officials say around 3 p.m. a car crashed into the brush off Harvard Road, starting a grass fire. Video from witnesses showing the flames tearing through the hillsides near Castaway Restaurant The fire coming within several hundred feet of homes at Sunset Canyon Drive as neighbors watched and worried.
Maybe we've got to evacuate. Maybe we've got to collect some of our belongings, our dog and stuff. And
I don't know what's happening with these fires. Very little news on a Sunday. Montana, evacuation orders in place for Sand Creek, Bobcat, and lake fires. Montana is having their own fires, but they don't seem to be as dangerous as the Washington fires, Oregon fires, some of the California fires. That's good, right? And
we're in Kagan Park in Okanagan Falls.
God, I don't know why it's not listening to me, my mouse. Okanagan Falls. This is the BC fires, and this is hard. Well, they're all hard, but these are just burning, and so many burning out of control.
It's about a 20 or so minute drive from Penticton, where all the evacuees are situated. About a 30 to 40 minute drive from Summerland if you're taking the main highway. That is close. But if you look around me here, still plenty of space for firefighters to set up. We have about a few dozen tents that are set up right now, and more will be on the way. As many as 300 tents are expected to be here once things get settled in. But it just goes to show how quickly this all unfolded. While firefighters are coming from all over, they can't get here immediately. I understand that the people that have set up in this camp got up as early as 4:30 a.m. To head out to the fire line. And there's firefighters currently from the Yukon, from BC, as well. They're expecting some of the Mexican wildfire fighters, and even maybe some firefighters from Costa Rica to help out in this massive fight.
Wow. And I think firefighters from Australia are coming to Washington and other places. And a boat capsized. Okay, I don't mean to laugh. It's like, okay, look at the sky. This is New York. Look at the sky. Okay. I guess she doesn't look up, or people just ignore it. But 2 dead, 12 injured after a boat capsized near Liberty Island.
We are standing 3 miles south of the Statue of Liberty, where tragedy unfolded last night just off the coast of Liberty Island. Police say a 22-foot boat carrying 14 people capsized in New York Harbor, killing a 27-year-old woman and a baby girl who was just 5 months old. First responders got the distress call at 10:30 and immediately deployed helicopters, boats, and scuba teams. 12 of the 14 people were rescued before police even arrived. Divers were eventually able to find and recover the missing woman and child, rushing them to the hospital where they unfortunately later died.
The investigation? Yeah.
Investigation is ongoing this morning into how this vessel capsized.
Why? What happened? They're in the Hudson River. What made it capsize? Strong wind? That really brought up the rivers. I don't know. Zuckerberg faces questions over why Super Yacht reportedly declined to help a stranded boat, Alaska. Not very nice, Zucky, but he wasn't on the boat. Doesn't matter. People hate him for good reason. Mark Zuckerberg faced questions over why a small cruise ship, very small actually, that ran out of fuel, and who was the closest to this small stranded skiff. It was Zuckerberg's yacht. They ignored the calls. They ignored the calls. They were the closest, and they just repeatedly declined to assist. I'm on a small ship, Alaska cruise, with my son. Our boat rescued a stranded vessel last night. And apparently we did that. I am so sorry. My throat has not been right for days. I think it's okay now. Okay, our boat rescued a stranded vessel last night, and apparently we did that after the Coast Guard radioed Mark Zuckerberg's yacht, which was closer, and they repeatedly refused to respond. There was near unanimous booing when the captain announced this. Even if he was not on the ship, the report is unlikely to boost public opinion of Zuckerberg, who has faced criticism over the societal impact of his social media platforms, his new warm relationship with Trump, and his lavish, insular lifestyle. I live in Juneau, and I've been having to look at that excessive eyesore, his yacht, for too long now. F. Zuckerberg is what he said. Well, can you even try to imagine the so-called elite, those fabulous billionaires, rescuing the ordinary in a little ship? Okay, I got this is sponsored by Domino's, ITVX, and I believe this is out of England. Okay. What is this? Now this is about the drought in the UK. Watch this. Oh, it's not going to come up with that whole blocking system. Well, I can't play it. They won't let me play it. Oh, I should have taken a capture of it. It was kind of wild. Clicking on it means that you've agreed to all of these terms, but it has to do with what I call censorship and what the UK calls we're keeping children safe. All right, well, I can't. More areas of England officially declare drought with another heat wave looming. Well, I can't watch. They won't let me watch it. But yeah, rivers are drying up, drought, but it can easily be manufactured. Well,
now at 11.
Now, okay, Tacoma, animal control helped rescue 40 plus cats from abandoned boat off Owen Beach.
Tacoma police are investigating how over 40 cats wound up alone on a boat anchored just off a beach in Point Defiance Park. Thanks for joining us here at 11. I'm Preston Phillips. Most of the cats were taken to the Humane Society for Tacoma and Pierce County, while others still remain on board. Tacoma's Tyler Cunnington live tonight from the Humane Society with what police are saying. Tyler?
Well, Preston, just a really interesting call for these cat castaways. I'm sorry, I've been thinking about that all day. I had to say it. Fortunately, animal control was out all day today working very hard. They got about 30 of those cats back here to the Humane Society to get things like food, water, just general attention, and also air conditioning, because they'd been on that smaller boat for quite some time. But there are still some on board tonight, as you're about to see. A collection of cats serving as both the captain and crew of a sailboat anchored just off of Owen Beach in Tacoma's Point Defiance Park, with no sign of humans, just
a lot of cats. Actually, we stepped down, and just like in the picture that was posted, they had all repositioned into the kitchen, and they were all looking at us.
Over 40 felines were discovered by Tacoma police after getting reports of a boat without proper lighting. The mix of male and female cats of all ages were actually fairly healthy, according to animal control.
They have clearly been fed and watered, but they've been on that boat for some time.
A potential owner has been contacted, but investigators hadn't gotten a response. It's unclear how or why the cats wound up living on the boat for what officials say was months or even longer. No potential charges were mentioned as the investigation is still ongoing.
That's incredible. It's such a surprise. How did they get on there? It's definitely like a domestication, situation that definitely got out of hand.
While crews worked for hours to retrieve most of the cats, there was still about 10 to 15 left who were either hiding or too scared to cooperate with animal control. Instead, seen prowling the decks and ledges at sunset. It's a unique situation, but one that animal control takes serious.
People start with just a few cats and they're not spayed or neutered. And unfortunately, they do what cats do.
All right. Well, this is one I've never seen. Months on this boat? Does the owner of the boat actually own the cats, or the cats? Months? Somebody feeding them? Dropping food off on this boat? This is so unbelievably weird. Yeah, okay. Now,
why would you want to ask the question?
This is Secretary of Environmental Protection Agency, and they do a lot of protection. We should all be so grateful for the EPA. This reporter is asking her about that sludge, the toxins that are actually ruining farms, and farmers have been just completely and utterly devastated by that toxic sludge. And he's laughing about it. Okay. Now, I know that administration, all of them before, have not given a shit about what happens in this country. It's the Trump administration that so smashes us in the face with that every day.
Do it between
Every
people
day.
who
Yeah, and the lying. Oh my God, the ongoing lying is so, I know a whole lot. Don't even respond. Don't say anything about it. It is so disturbing, the outrageous lies in the face of millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of Americans who are being devastated by the economy, by the toxins, and you watch these people lie outrageously, laugh, don't give a shit, and sounds like a malignant, narcissistic family that I actually come from.
live and deal with these issues.
This is a fascinating interview.
Dismissive comments from the head of the EPA as we attempt to ask questions on behalf of family farmers who say they're losing everything. What led to that exchange started thousands of miles away, on farms where families say forever chemicals left them with contaminated land, sick livestock, and livelihoods destroyed, all because of a fertilizer called sludge or biosolids made from human waste and touted by the government that farmers say contain toxic levels of PFAS chemicals known to cause cancer, kill animals, and contaminate crops.
The farm is just not even a shadow of what we used to be.
Maine farmer Fred Stone was forced to euthanize his dairy herd after the cow's milk tested 350 times higher for PFAS than what's allowed in water.
This is about as real as it gets, guys.
It wasn't just Maine. From Texas,
we've had 85 cows that have died. 85 cows.
To Virginia,
it's extremely disturbing.
To Michigan and South Carolina, we've spent years reporting on farmers who say PFAS-contaminated biosolids are changing their lives forever.
It's ruined us. Our land is condemned useless. We can't grow nothing on it.
Sludge is used on some 70 million acres of U.S. farmland. But it wasn't until 2025 that the EPA released the results of its first investigation, concluding that even tiny amounts of PFAS in biosolids could pose risks to farmers, livestock, agriculture, and drinking water. But just a year later, the EPA rejected parts of its own assessment, surprising many closest to the issue. For months, we've asked the EPA detailed questions about what it was doing to address these growing concerns. The questions went unanswered. Then, we finally got the chance to ask them ourselves while EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin was touring a Virginia sawmill.
For years, you have told PFAS-affected communities that you're fighting for them. We've been to those communities in Maine, in Virginia, in Texas. We've seen the devastation on the farms, on the ranches. And we've talked to the people there, and they don't believe that you or your agency is fighting for them anymore. In fact, they believe you've done a 180. What would you
Who
say
have
to
you
them?
spoken to in Maine?
Fred Stone,
Yeah.
the dairy farmer whose milk in his cows was so high he had to euthanize his herds.
We didn't come to this interview with hypotheticals. We came with years of reporting, dozens of interviews, and farmers who have lived the consequences of these decisions. But each time we returned to the biosolids science, the conversation shifted somewhere else.
So you don't want to talk about it, but anything that we're doing about actually fighting PFAS. To be clear, all we want to do is just make one conclusory statement about how informed you are on New Hampshire and Maine
and Texas and Virginia and
Yeah,
Michigan.
no.
You know what I would love? I would love for us to sit down and do a proper interview and have a proper
This
conversation.
isn't a proper
about that.
conversation. So
Could
we're
we sit
answering
down at
questions.
some point?
But instead of answering our questions, Zeldin only wanted to ask his own.
Why do you ask the question? What are you doing to fight PFAS? Why would you want to ask the question?
We're the conduit between the people who
This
live
is
and deal with
hilarious.
these issues.
Like
Well, I think it's unfair that you said this was hilarious when this is devastating people's lives.
You know
and
what's
livelihoods.
hilarious is that you're saying you care about fighting PFAS and you still haven't asked the question, what are you doing to fight PFAS? You say you want to have a sit down about PFAS, and it took me like 7-8 minutes to pull out of the question, what are you doing to fight PFAS? It's truly
here's the thing
one
with
of the most
interviews.
bonkers.
Well, but the
type
thing with
of person
interviews
to
is the
interview.
reporter generally comes with the questions.
Zeldin didn't provide any answers about tackling biosolids and only answered his own question with information about possible expensive PFAS capture by municipalities, which doesn't help farmers dealing with it already in their land and livestock.
I mean, what does the EPA stand for? Environmental Protection Agency. Well, they failed to do their job.
That's Tony Coleman, a Texas rancher we visited who says PFAS contamination cost him his multi-generational ranch.
We got robbed. We got our eggs stolen from us. And nobody gives a damn.
Tony asked us to carry an important message back to Washington.
He would like me to extend an invitation to you to come down, visit, walk his land, talk to these people, see what they're actually dealing with. Is that something you would do?
You could send the request to my office. I spend my entire time, I'm out of the office a lot.
What tap are you drinking from, Mr. Zeldin? Where are you getting your water? Come let me fix your glass. Bet you don't drink.
The EPA says it continues to review the biosolids science. But for farmers who have already lost their land, their herds, and their livelihoods, it's an issue they can't walk away from, unlike the head of the EPA.
And the EPA still has, glyphosate. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So outrageous. So outrageous.
Meanwhile,
So
people
is
living
this.
near the XAI data center construction site now in Whitehaven are reacting with anger and disbelief after learning yet another data center is opening its doors soon. XAI owner Elon Musk made the announcement on social media yesterday.
The revelation caught many people off guard, and it's raising new concerns about what comes next for the community. Fox 13's Martin Staunton is live in Whitehaven tonight. And Martin, what are people saying?
Lewis, the people I talked with were both surprised and frustrated after learning that a third XAI data center is taking shape behind me. And today, we saw that work moving forward with crews already on the ground.
I am surprised and I'm not surprised. My problem with the whole thing is the noise, because we hear it all night long.
Elon Musk is sparking a new wave of controversy with a social media post confirming the existence of another data facility known as Mini-Hard. It appears to be part of the massive build-out already underway for the data center known as Macro-Hard and macro harder are being constructed on Tulane Road. For longtime opponents, the disclosure is fueling fresh criticism.
I fail to understand why our city leadership, why our county leadership will not step up and protect the people. Why has there been no legislation put forward that will slow down this project or any demands that will regulate these data centers? Without regulation, we see what Elon Musk will do.
Beyond ongoing air and water quality concerns, residents say they're already dealing with the impact of rapid development, including growing traffic through what was once a quiet part of Whitehaven.
I believe there's going to be some accidents that's going to occur because of the site.
Because of the construction in the traffic in the construction zone.
Traffic in the construction zone, that is correct, yes.
But pollution concerns remain at the center of the debate for advocates like Pearson and Latricia Adams, founder, CEO, and president of Young, Gifted, and Green. Fox 13 asked about the disclosure of yet another data center in Memphis. In a statement, Adams said, quote, I and many other Memphis residents had no idea a fourth data center was coming to Whitehaven. Lack of transparency seems to be on brand for how this company operates and how city leadership consistently bends to the pressure of industry, end quote. For Peters, the possibility of another data center moving forward without direct input from the people who live nearest to it is deeply personal.
It is it's very heartbreaking. It's disappointing to think that our public officials would not give us an opportunity to speak, you know, to allow our opinions to be heard.
Well, that's the way, it goes now. Billionaires, corporations, these AI tycoons get to do whatever the hell they want to do. It's not a good practice to sit down and not hold anybody accountable. All of these people, oh wow, we're in bad straits here. After traffic stop, Congressman vows to rein in flock cameras with legislation. Congressman didn't know that a whole lot of people were being falsely accused, but he wasn't falsely accused, actually. This is Marlin Stutzman, Republican from Indiana, is vowing to pursue legislation in Congress to rein in the proliferation of flock cameras by law enforcement after he experienced his own traffic stop, aided by the controversial license plate readers. Well, this is what he said. I pulled into my driveway and all of a sudden a police officer pulls in behind me. I said, can I help you? Did I do something wrong? And he said, well, your car's registration has expired. So I looked and it was my wife's name. I somehow missed it. Of course, we got it taken care of, but he recognized my car because the flock cameras relayed the information that we had driven into town and it was under the jurisdiction of these flock cameras. Flock cameras now hold jurisdiction. And it just me, I felt very uneasy about it. Stutzman said he and other colleagues in Congress are discussing legislation to put some limits on the use of flock cameras. I don't know what they're going to do. So his registration had expired. And this is what flock cameras will do. I feel far worse for the people who, like that woman that I included last night, who was, I think on an interstate, and the police pulled her over claiming that she, was a murder suspect, and completely flock failed. And she was innocent. So I think this is a step too far. There has to be boundaries. There has to be controls in place. Of course, you can always argue, well, we're able to catch the bad guys, but you know what? There's 95% good people out there doing the right thing. We would have taken care of that registration one way or the other, but you got caught. We didn't need a police officer following us to our house to remind us. Several of us are going to start looking at some legislation to rein these in. But I don't think that you're going to be able to rein in what happened to you. Perhaps get rid of the flock cameras. I don't think that there's going to be, outside of getting rid of flock cameras, that you're going to be able to rein them in, especially when you're at fault, with a registration that has expired. Black-owned business, this is so heartbreaking. Black-owned business loses Blue Angels contract after more than 4 decades serving the Navy. Pensacola's sewing box says it was not notified before the Navy awarded a new contract to another company for a whole lot more money than Sewing Box got for the 4 decades. After dressing the U.S. Navy's Blue Angels for more than 4 decades, Pensacola's black-owned Sewing Box has lost its contract to a Virginia-based government contractor. The decision has fueled criticism online, with supporters questioning the Navy's procurement process for 43 years. Candy Whitehurst and her Pensacola shop, The Sewing Box, handcrafted the iconic blue and yellow ceremonial flight suits worn by the U.S. Navy's Blue Angels, which is... I thought there was a picture in here. All right. Well, let's listen to her.
I would have never, ever thought that Mind Blues would treat me like this. Not in a million years.
For 43 years, Candy Whitehurst and the tailors at the Sewing Box on North Navy Boulevard have made the Blue Angels iconic ceremonial flight suits, sewing, cutting, measuring, and stitching each blue and yellow ensemble to perfection. How many Blues uniforms do you think you've made over the years?
So it's so many, I can't even really tell you.
Thousands?
Yes, thousands.
According to this document on sam.gov, the government's official website where federal agencies post contract opportunities, the U.S. Navy has awarded a new contract worth up to $1.69 million over 5 years to Aquila International LLC in Virginia.
Never have they did that for me, ever. That I was making, I'm making pennies compared to what they're doing.
In fact, I believe the amount that Sewing Box was making was like 100-something thousand a year, and so they're now giving it to a company for $1.6 million.
Sam.gov, the company will manufacture, alter, and repair the Blue Angels custom ceremonial suits, taking exact measurements of each pilot at Naval Air Station Pensacola and Naval Air Facility El Centro. According to the contract, every suit must be made from flame-resistant fabric supplied by the government and meet strict military specifications.
Before, they always announced to me, Miss Candy, do you want the contract? You need to put your bid in. This year, I didn't hear from no one. No one called me.
The new contractor is also required to complete repairs and alterations within 14 days to keep up with the Blues' demanding demonstration schedule, according to sam.gov. Whitehurst says that won't be easy.
I'm really hurt from it because I just cannot understand. And then we're local. We right there, right out the front gate. Now you got to pay somebody to make the uniform, and now you got to pay somebody to do alteration when y'all have emergency blowout or it just don't fit right. I would drop everything for them to take care of them and be at work all night, doing everything they need. So I would have never thought that they would do this to me.
Friday afternoon, I reached out to officials with the Navy and the public affairs officer for the Blue Angels to ask about the change in contractors. I also emailed and called Aquila International LLC to comment on the role they'll play in outfitting the Blues. I have not heard back.
Okay, it's Hegseth, and I have to say that a whole lot of Black Americans are getting the shaft, and this company now 1.6 million, when Sewing Box was, just doing this work for, yeah, as she said, pennies compared to that. Oh wow, not cool, not cool at all. Now, yet another piece of news of Trump's corruption. Trump crypto took $1 million from a businessman with red flags. Well, a whole lot of red flags, very obvious red flags. The curious case of Gurren Bobby Chow shows the ease with which investors with shady backgrounds and unknown motivations can funnel money to the president. I'll post the link if you want to read, but this guy is so criminally corrupt, and we're just sitting back. Look, he knows he can do it he doesn't give shit what anybody thinks. He just knows that he can do it. Zach Witkoff, son of Steve Witkoff, co-founder of Trump's cryptocurrency company, took in the action from a luxury suite. Yeah, the World Cup. Here they are, enjoying themselves. Joining him was a man who had made the president and all the company's co-founders much richer. 2 years earlier, Zhao was a failed hardwood flooring retailer in Britain. Oh, well, you sure did come up fast, right? He sure came up fast. And presided over the collapse of a small crypto startup. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, he became one of the biggest buyers of tokens from Trump's company, World Liberty Financial, dropping a total of $100 million through a new firm called Aqua One. He kept quiet about it for months, other than speaking briefly as Mr. Bobby from Aqua One during a little noticed audio stream on X. God, under World Liberty policy, as much as $75 million of that money was distributed to a company controlled by the president and his 3 sons. The money also benefited the family of Steve Witkoff, Trump, his special peace envoy, and father of Zach Witkoff. The criminal families. In any prior era, a windfall for the president of that size from a foreigner with no public signs of access to that level of wealth would have certainly gone against norms, might have spawned a congressional investigation. Instead, the curious case of Mr. Zhao illustrates the ease with which buyers with unknown backgrounds and motivations can use the anonymity of cryptocurrency to shower Trump with money. Now, we also hear that, oh my God, so much fraud is going on in the crypto world. And this is how they fund all of those nasty terrorists. We've got to do something. How come they're not doing anything with all of the money going to Trump? The president's recent financial disclosure form shows that he collected $1.4 billion from his crypto business, the majority of it from anonymous sources. Zhao, his past, money laundering, He was involved in a money laundering investigation in England. Criminal. We've got criminals, very obvious criminals. Greenland, again, he's making noise about Greenland. But this, Greenland, yeah, well, this is the way the empire has gone. You know, if we want something, we don't care who owns it, we're going to take it. Greenland issues strong warning as Trump-linked oil firm prepares to drill. An American oil company connected to Trump is preparing to sink wells in remote Greenland, despite not having received permission from the local authorities, as the U.S. president renews his threats to claim the vast Arctic territory. Materials to prepare for drilling were brought ashore in recent days on Greenland's eastern coast. 2 days later, Trump made his latest menacing post on Truth Social, showing himself looming over a Greenlandic village. Okay. I really hate this. I seriously hate it. I just so seriously hate it. It is so disgusting. I would hate it coming from any government. But we're the worst. It is so reprehensible. That doesn't really work anymore. Despicable, vile. Executives of Greenland Energy, a Texas company set up last year, have claimed that $1 trillion of crude may lie beneath the Jameson Land region. So they have announced plans to drill 2 wells to find out. Greenland Energy has retained listen to this, Phil McGraw, better known as Dr. Phil, a prominent right-wing former chat show host who served on Trump's Religious Freedom Commission, to make a documentary series that will capture the mission of these modern-day wildcatters. I guess Dr. Phil doesn't really care that this company never got permission to do what it's doing. It has also appointed as a director a U.S. Navy veteran who is working on Golden Dome, the missile defense plan for which Trump says controlling Greenland is vital. Anybody else have anything to say about this disgusting, vile behavior of our so-called leaders? Whether you like it or not, they do represent Americans. Do you like the representation? Dr. Phil? Oh, shit. This is so... He was on the Religious Freedom Commission? For what? God. Our country. Cuba regime overthrow would turn out like Iran. Trump has been warned. Okay. So, yeah. Oh, man, don't do this. Oh, to continue, maybe? No? Okay. I read the entire article, and, well, it's not like Venezuela. A little bit harder to find a Dulce, Rodriguez to slip into the top position in Cuba, which, yeah, she folded and just jumped into Maduro's spot. And it's not the same. They can't find a replacement. And according to this article, the Cubans will fight like hell, like the Iranians. You can kill them all, but they will fight. Cuba, Greenland, Iran, Venezuela. So sick. Turkey restricts Black Sea traffic as drone attacks on commercial vessels spike. Aye. All right, another slowing down of these oil tankers. Turkey has begun restricting commercial ship traffic into the Black Sea amid a surge in Russian and Ukrainian attacks on civilian vessels. An important Russian oil and grain export port that is not issuing transit permits at this time requires review passage applications. And Turkish authorities have provided no explanation for the move. Some vessels have also reportedly been told that the restriction applies to ships heading to Ukraine. All right, so they seem to be tying up the seas, right? Choke points all over. It's not going to help the economy. Okay, now, whatever you hear Trump say, whatever you hear these MAGA influencers say, it doesn't matter. You need to, and I'll post the link to this, you should bookmark Tasnim, an Iranian news publication, to find out what actually is the truth. Okay, Trump has been saying, still in negotiations, still, a deal is being worked out, Hormuz Strait recontrol, or it's going to be reopened. Top Iranian diplomat rules out resumption of U.S. talks. Intermediaries are still making efforts to find ways to resume negotiations. Iran sees no possibility of restarting talks until the U.S. stops violating the Memorandum of Understanding and compensates for its violations. Regarding Iran's talks with Oman, the foreign minister said the negotiations with Oman are about determining a new maritime route in the Strait of Hormuz. We are at the final stage, and the old routes will be replaced by new routes. Specialists are working on the routes, and he emphasized that reaching an agreement with Oman on a new maritime route does not mean that the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened. Of course, this does not mean the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, quote, unquote. This agreement may be reached, but the opening of the Strait of Hormuz is subject to a number of conditions. And the conditions are very clear, but I don't think the United States or Trump is going to agree to them. Top security official, these are the conditions, 6 conditions: never and in no language threaten Iran and insult the sanctities of this nation. Trump kind of has threat Tourette's, so that's not going to happen. Permanently end the war and aggression against Iran and Iran's allies in Lebanon, Palestine, Yemen, and Iraq. And that's not going to happen. Lift the naval blockade and withdraw its military force from around Iran. Pay in full without any reduction of the damages caused to Iran by the 2 wars of aggression and imposition. We're not going to pay. We're going to claim that all of that damage was brought about because Iran is the boogeyman. Lift the unjust and illegal sanctions against the Iranian nation, which, sanctions have been there for decades and decades, and like Cuba, like Venezuela, like so many countries, and unconditionally release the blocked and stolen assets of the Iranian people. And do you know what? One of those influencers that posted on Twitter something about how Iran is demanding payment from the United States. Iran wants their own money back, their own assets back. That's not a payment. That's what it's theirs. Give it back. The Supreme National Security Council will never back down, neither in war nor in negotiations. Very clear. Iran has made themselves very, very clear. We lost already. We're done. This war has been lost. It doesn't matter what Trump says or Hegseth says or the MAGA influencers. It doesn't matter. Not at all. But listen to this. Okay, this is the Treasury Secretary who is talking about, that Trump will instead build underground pipelines to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. What?
There's some who've speculated the strait will never go back to being the way it was before. What would you say?
I would take, I think they're saying that in a doomsday sort of way. I would say it in another way. The strait is never going back to the way it was because the Iranians have used or tried to use it as a choke point. What we are going to see over the next 2 years, the strait's going to become irrelevant. It is going to become just another body of water. And I would say that more than 50 or 70% of the energy that moves through the strait now is going to go through underground pipelines.
There's some who've speculated the strait will never.
You should see MAGA influencers on this. They're like, yeah, did you hear what Bessent said? That we're going to build these pipelines. And do you know, first of all, that they would need a whole lot of agreements of countries, and it would take so many years to even begin doing this. So another shit-faced, subhuman, abject liar. Oh, can we ever stop this? Can we? Eric Doherty, all right, so I read his profile and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? He is is this a real guy? I guess Chief Content Officer, Right Line News, Florida Voice News, Maryland turned Floridian politics, breaking news. Men must vote. Charlie Kirk. All right. Holy crap. Secretary Scott Bessent just announced the checkmate move. Oh my God. It's kind of like they're still in junior high school. The checkmate move? Really? Okay. Are you not mentioning that this will take years, Eric? You don't know. And you'd have to get an awful lot of permission from a whole lot of countries with these pipelines going through, and a whole lot of countries can't stand us at this point. So, really? Holy shit. Oh, God, it's so embarrassing to be an American today. And Iranian president slams United States as criminal regime. We are a criminal, evil regime. A whole lot of Americans don't want to face that fact, but we are. Denouncing the U.S. as a criminal and colonialist, regime. This was the Iranian president. He made the remarks at a press conference on Saturday, marking the Journalist Day, as he discussed the need to preserve domestic cohesion amid the current security situation after the U.S.-Israeli war of aggression against Iran. The president said the U.S., the Zionist regime, and their analysts understand that a country can no longer be forced into submission through war and missiles alone. It's so archaic at this point. 2026, still doing this, right? But that internal divisions, discord, and conflict could be used to achieve such an objective. So don't let it happen, Iranians. Iranians' position toward the U.S. has not changed, saying American is colonialist, America is criminal, and the Islamic Republic must remain. There is no doubt about this. Yeah, this country is evil. We are the most evil terrorist organization out there. You know, you ask anybody in other countries, and they would say without the United States, there might be peace. Because Israel would just begin to fold. The most loathed and despised piece of human garbage on the planet is once again threatening and bullying Greenland. I agree, Bill. I agree. This is can we have some dignity? Maybe a little bit of integrity? Maybe. No, we can't have that. And wow, listening to these people, you know, Sunday, they have the Sunday talk show in the morning, all the news, talk shows. RNC chair, Joe Grutters.
So it's a short-term pain for a lot of long-term gain there.
But I wonder if the president has to look inward a little bit, Joe, because he said he doesn't think they're angry at him. But on my show earlier this week, I had Senator John Husted, who you know is on the ballot there in Ohio, and here's what he told me.
But I think they're angry at everybody. I think they're angry at Democrats and Republicans for
Does that include the
not
president?
doing enough to solve the problems. I think it's all of us.
Does he need to look inward here a little bit?
No, I think that the president's beloved by the base. As a matter of fact, the reason why we're going to win in November is because the president's still super popular and probably the most popular president in the history of the country within our base. He's the one person that we know could deliver these low propensity voters. That's why we're having this midterm convention for the first time ever. It's going to be a Trumpapalooza. And then we're going to go out there, and I talked to him. I was traveling with him. We're going to maybe do 30 rallies together in some of these districts to help try to drive turnout to make sure that people come out and vote.
I don't give a shit about elections, but I sure would love the Republicans to just fall flat on their face. And they may very well, you know, because the economy, well, when you listen to Maria Bartiromo, you think everything is just fabulous. Fox News. And she claims that the Democrats pointing out the economy is not great, they're the propagandists.
So, Maria, let me pick up on this past jobs report quickly and get your assessment on the fact that, you know, President Trump is constantly talking about record markets, you mentioned there, rising wages, and what we are still seeing, fewer layoffs. But yet this week already, we're going to be hearing from Democrats about how horrible the economy is. So
yeah, but that's just propaganda. I mean, look, things are going well.
Oh,
and I think we all feel it, right, Griff? I mean, look at where we are right now. You've got job creation.
No. Okay. She knows, and she's lying through her teeth. She is lying through her teeth. How could anybody watch Fox News? How? We have so many Americans freaking out about finances. The murder-suicides going on in families, well, I can only speculate, but the economy probably has a lot to do with that. Okay? There are no jobs out there. She fucking full well knows. She knows. And she has, well, and she says, well, we're doing well. Yeah, Maria, you are. Because you can do something where a whole lot of people just can't. They can't lie through their teeth. Well, too many can, actually, so I'll take that back. Way too many can. That's why we're in such dangerous times that we're living. Very dangerous times. Liars are incredibly dangerous. Every liar. Doesn't matter if they're mainstream media or government official or your friend or your family. Every lie that comes out of people's mouth is dangerous. It does, well, some lies actually do irreparable damage to the relationship. You can't trust after that lie has been spoken. You need trust, especially when things are not going well. Here we are. I can't believe that this woman actually said this. Holy shit.
You've got economic growth. You've got $18 trillion of new investment. The president's main priority has been to put America first and get the supply chains back to America so that...
No. Put Trump first. Family second. Trump organizations third. Trump's pockets come first.
We're not reliant on, Asia for semiconductor chips, which we need for defense, or, China for pharmaceutical components. So that...
Okay, when is all of this happening, Maria? All of those factories, that 18 trillion in investment, when is that going to be happening? Because it's not happening now. And then it takes years to actually manifest. Oh my God. Look, I feel it, okay? Because, living off Social Security is not fun. I think about all of the millions, especially those with families, especially the elderly. When they hear people like this, what could they possibly be thinking? This, how dangerous it is, it does piss people off to the point where they're ready to annihilate. It's so unbelievably outrageous. 76% of voters say the economy is fair or poor.
Okay, let's start with a couple of polls. On the condition of the economy, what folks told us is 76% of them say it's fair or poor. And when we asked about their personal financial situation, the largest number came in from those who report they are falling behind. We have talked about this before. When can Americans expect relief?
Well, we've already seen that real wages under President Trump, which is wages after inflation, have gone up about $1,000 for the typical American middle-class family and about $4,000 for the typical manufacturing worker or construction worker. And so people are making more money than, they're having.
Ask the construction workers. Yeah. $1,000, first of all, goes nowhere today. Even if it were true, it goes nowhere today. But here, again, blame it on Biden.
having to pay at higher prices. But the prices went up so much under Joe Biden, we totally understand why people are still frustrated when they go to the grocery store. I go to the grocery store myself, and I'm just stunned still at the price of beef and other products. But the bottom line is that if you want to have higher welfare for American people, then you need factory construction, you need lots and lots of job creation and machine purchases. And so right now, as an example, we've got 83,000 or so people building new factories in the U.S. because of Trump's economic policies. And we've got
data centers.
The highest investment data that we've ever seen. All the way in March was like the best month ever, so that they're putting machines in the factories. And as those factories turn on, then we're going to have more construction jobs, more manufacturing jobs. And again, those are average wages of $4,000. Under Joe Biden, manufacturing wages, I'm not filibustering, I'm about to add. Under Joe Biden, manufacturing employment went down 233,000 workers, and wages dropped for the...
Okay, you cannot trust a government official talking about numbers. Okay, you can't. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. Cannot trust when they start talking about numbers because they're full of shit. Okay, this country, as we all know, is rapidly declining. The destruction of everything, the economy, the weather warfare, everything that is going on is real, and more people, pretty much a daily basis, are freaking out about the economy, and they have the fucking gall to smile, to claim that everything's going great. Okay, when you listen to this, and we know that it's lies, okay, we've been listening my 67 years as an American. Lie, 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 lie. People that accept all of these lies, never do anything about it, cannot be a people who respect themselves. So when you have a people that don't even respect themselves, they just flounder, and I guess they tried their best throughout life, but it turns to shit. And they still don't do anything. Oh my God. It's not a surprise to me that we're here. I was screaming about what the hell is going on, that we're not holding anybody accountable. The fascism that was quite evident in the early 80s to me, who was really a pretty uneducated, stupid American, but I couldn't even have conversations with friends of mine because they didn't care. Well, when you have a nation that on the whole, the people just don't care, this is where you go. Downward. Downward fast. And here, Nancy Mace, wow, every single Muslim holding public office in America is a Trojan horse and a threat to both national security and our republic. We refuse to be silent. And Glenn Greenwald notes that if somebody made this exact same statement, but replaced Muslim with Jew, their career would not only be instantly and permanently destroyed, but their families and banks and communities and employers would be relentlessly hounded until they were denounced, disowned, and banned. Okay, Nancy Mace. What did I write? In response, another disgusting, vile, subhuman thing in Congress. Nancy Mace. I wrote, I wish the American people were not so silent about the real threats to national security and their own lives. You, your colleagues, no, I should edit that. I wish I could edit. But if you want to edit your tweet, what do you have to do? Pay. You got to pay to get that blue check. All right. You, your colleagues, and Trump et al. national security threat right here. From Waffle House, the Citadel, U.S. House. Oh, Christ. So, yeah. And when you listen to this guy, what? Oh, my God. Mark Levin throws a fit over Americans not wanting to fight Israel's wars, U.S. wars. We're just done with fighting.
What the hell has happened to our society? Where is our can-do-it mentality? I want to talk about the greatest generation versus today's young people, okay? I got to thinking about this over this time.
Oh, greatest generation over these young people today. All right. Well, the greatest generation went off to war with the narrative that they were saving Europe. They were saving the Jews. They were saving all of the people that were being put to death by the Nazis. Israel is now the Nazi. Iran, a whole lot know that Iran is not the boogeyman. So actually, Mark, people, I guess, are just wising up. And you, this platform of yours, disgusting. Just because you have a platform and use it in the most despicable manner doesn't mean others have the same vile opinions as you do. Who listens to these people? You know, I get 14 seconds in and I'm like, I can't. Do people actually listen? Holy God, man. Frightening. And yeah, everything is just about throwing punches, right? A drunk Israeli tourist assaulted an American family at a Philippine airport. Very, very global of them, very international. After they told him free Palestine. Oh, wrong one. Let me see if this will play. I guess boys were boys.
Now you're going to jail. You prove our point. You prove our point. You're going to jail. This guy has called Jews. No. Attack me. You attacked me. You fucking attacked me.
What's with the hair? They don't like hearing free Palestine. You have to have their opinion or you get belted in the face. Israel rejects Trump's 15-point plan for Gaza, says Netanyahu. I'll get into this more. It's really pretty fat. Well, I find it very interesting, fascinating. What is happening with this board of peace, the peace plan, and how literally nothing will come about unless the people rise up and put a stop to all of it. Yeah. Now, this I thought was fabulous, and
it just seems so it's so childish for
they're still live. Wow, this is hours and hours. So Disturbing Illusion Brian posted alive, he's still alive, Why is your God and your religion the right one? And each one is going to go off. Oh no, okay, this held. Good. But I wanted to play what he said in the very beginning, which I'm glad that he did this because more people need to be talking about this. The division from religion is way too much. And it's, I could tell stories by not even saying a word, men, Christians, coming up to me in my face, behaving in such violent ways that, two, scared the crap out of me. But, but from what I've heard on this live, there was some very, very good discussion going on. So I'm going to play just a few minutes in the very beginning, Brian talking about why he is doing this.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you?
No. What is going on here? Oh. Because it's still... All right, let's see if I can... Maybe now?
I do that the two things you're not supposed to talk to, at least here in America, is religion and politics. Why? Because a lot of people strongly attach, it's almost like they super glue their identity to a religion or a political personality or a political party. And then when you criticize it or question it in any way, people take it as a personal attack. Everything that I say today is not intended to be a personal attack, but I do want to take the stick of inquisitiveness and kind of turn over some stones and ask some questions like, is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Is there a God? Does a character like Satan exist? If he does, in what form? Are there angels? Are there demons? And this isn't just exclusive to, this talk is not exclusive to Christianity. I want to hear from you if you're a Muslim, if you're a Hindu, if you're a Buddhist, somebody who's spiritual.
Okay, so I don't know why that was happening. Maybe he just ended the live. It looks like it, the red dot. Or maybe it is still live. I don't know. But I'm going to play this discussion that he has with this man. And it is very, very important. When you cannot even ask a question without getting attacked, something is very wrong, right? That should not be the case. But when he says super glues, whatever religion, somebody is, I guess, they've subjected themselves to, that's what happens. And it is something that really needs to change. And the only way that it could possibly change is for people to start talking about it. So, much respect, Brian, because this is a topic that, I've tried, and boy, I don't like feeling like I can't even ask a question because I'm going to get attacked. It's not the way, things should be. It really, boy, yeah. We have to stop the division here. We've got to stop, warring with amongst ourselves. So here's the conversation that he had.
Me a link, contact at highimpactflix.com.
All right, I'll do that. Oh, one last thing. I've got the original.
Okay, he's ending the conversation with this guy, and I'm a little afraid. Let me see. I'll get it right here. Okay.
Yeah. And the disturbing illusion, I watch all the time, stand up to the cops.
I am the
So
person that started the short season theology in 2016. I made a YouTube channel called Flat Earth Nation Golden Age Past. Started teaching that the rocks were crying out, that the stones were reserved in judgment. I'm all about Jesus Christ and reading it the way that people on every continent are reading it now, that when Jesus said he was coming back in that generation, he did. And we are in a time period that I've been teaching, started the last 45 years, spoken of Daniel chapter 12, where blessed are those who make the 1335. I trace it back from 9/11, where all the mafias of the world realized they had to do something and decide by commission, what are we going to call money the next time we take it underground? I also wrote a book in 2008 called New Grace, the Televised Revolution, where people were survivors of people who hid in caves. And when they came out, people were feeding information and lies about their previous society. The main reason some people don't believe in my world is many are called, few are chosen, very fewer are faithful. And to be that, you have to be elect, called, chosen, predestined, adopted into the family, where you identify that there is one God, not a trinity, that identifies as a father in the spirit. When that spirit, not an anthropomorphical, I put my arm around a spirit God and you can see right through him. No, our God is a spirit. We must worship him in spirit because we're going to metamorphose into spirit beings ourselves.
but let me
So
let me stop you. Let me stop you real quick,
thank you
because
for
if you
that time.
yeah, no. I just got to stop you real quick, because I want to ask a real quick question. A Mormon could say the same thing about what he believes, a
Right.
Jehovah's Witness, a Catholic, and then people are looking at that going, well, I don't believe it. You would actually look at a Catholic and go, sorry, I don't believe in the Trinity. It's not happening. So
Yeah.
apart from the Bible, how would you ever have arrived at what you've arrived at? Could you have?
Full disclosure here. I've been ordained Ute medicine man. I've been on 2 peyote vision quests. The second one confirmed that the rocks are the body parts of the Titans. I do believe there were
What do you mean
2
rocks? Like what do you mean rocks? All
all
the rocks of
rocks.
the earth?
The mountains, Sleeping Ute Mountain is one of those Titans. The
What
gold,
Titans are we
silver, and
talking about?
I'm talking about, some people will know that Michael Heiser and Rob Skiba, the only thing that they did good for, I think, Christianity is wake up the world to the fact that in Psalm 82, in the heavenly council, as they call it, it was Elohim talking to Elohim. And that opened the door for my second vision. I had 2 visions 35 years apart. And the second one was go check the stones. And when I did, I found out that as Christians build up gold, silver, and precious stones because we can't carry our treasure to heaven, we build it up in us because we are living stones to be fit into the stone, the
You
rock of
realize
our
this sounds
salvation.
crazy to people who have never heard of this before, right?
And you've never heard anything about short season theology or
Is this
the mud
preterist?
flood?
Is this like preterist stuff?
No, it's pretamillennialism. We believe the millennium is over.
But I
I've
mean,
been
you do
teaching it.
recognize that saying that all the stones of the earth and the mountains are part of the Titans is like talking about Santa Claus and the Easter.
Outrageous.
Yes.
It's outrageous.
Okay, so back to my question: would you have arrived at the conclusions you've arrived at without something called the Bible?
Oh no, that's all I'm about. Now, the first time
So it
when I
could.
was
So my next question to that is:
yes,
is it
always
possible?
scripture.
is it possible that you've been deceived by the people who wrote the Bible into believing the things that you believe right now?
It is beyond possible that I was deceived, but once you step back from realizing that we are those children, you were that children, your children are those children, that when not forget Operation Paperclip, it was the Japanese 721 that really taught our guys how to torture. They wanted the children between 3 and 5, and they got them. Every desk had a globe. We were going to fight the commies. You know, it's management and labor arguments. How do you fine tune what should be obvious, what God hates? He hates rich people who hold back the pay of the people he hired to mow the fields.
How do
He
we know
can't
that?
stand it.
How do
That's
we
a
know that?
scripture. That's a
Okay, so
scripture.
that's what I'm saying. Is so you could hold none of your belief if there wasn't something called scripture, right?
Right.
Then how
And
do you
not
know that that's
Enoch,
scripture? And you've chosen to believe in the canon of scripture, Genesis 1:1 to Revelation 22:21. And
Yeah.
is it possible that you're wrong, that this book is just a book that was written by men just to tell a story?
Well, for 10 years, I've been saying, welcome to Flat Earth Nation, or welcome to Mud Flood was Armageddon. Let's debate in a fair and honest, nonviolent way. And not one person has ever took me up after they've looked at my evidence.
But I mean, if you could answer that question, you'd be willing to admit that the Bible is just a book like the dictionary or the Quran
No,
or
I
whatever.
completely disagree. Now, when
And
the
you
King
disagree
James
based on
Version,
based on belief,
30
right?
yeah, 30 seconds, and I'll tell you why I disagree.
Okay.
All right. If the mud flood was Armageddon, like I teach, all of those people, especially Josephus, Polycarp, and Irenaeus, that's all a joke set up by the Jesuits, because it was a worldwide destruction. It was a judgment upon the whole world. It wasn't business as usual. Oh, Tiberius just kicked their ass. Let's go see what else they got. I've got Josephus with us to explain to the world Christianity. That's the BS of the whole situation. When we find the Bible, we find the Bible, and when they find the Ethiopian Kopek and then the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it has Enoch, oh my gosh, they lose their mind. We found the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. Jesus had children. They're the liars.
Yeah, but
The
but
scriptures that
hold on a second. That's a person's perspective that you're calling a liar. So if you
that's
when you express your perspective and your opinion, and people are like, well, you're a liar. How do we know that you're the one telling the truth and they're liars? How do we know that they're not the ones telling the truth and you're a liar? Or how do we know that you both aren't liars? So what's the thing that somebody can sink their teeth into and go, okay, out of 45,000 Christian denominations, Alan is right?
Well, if you have a question for me in a minute, let me have it. I remember the first time when I thought, somebody might stump me, but the Lord gave me the answer right away. They would say, if what you're saying is possible, when was the great falling away? When, because there has
What if
to
there
be
was
the
no
great
great?
falling away.
What if there was no great falling away? What if it's just a fictitious story made up by some guy who wanted to swindle a bunch of people?
What if the apostle Paul wrote to Timothy in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 15, and said, I guess you heard all of Asia has departed me. Now, Asia was where the 7 letters to Revelation were written.
Yeah, but you're referring back to a Bible that a lot of people don't believe in.
Right.
It's just
You
like
might have
referring
seen
to it's like referring to a bedtime story and go, okay, Santa Claus left the North Pole and he filled his sleigh with presents and goes down the chimney of you know what I mean? What you're saying is exactly like that.
Like that. It's what we taught. It's what we were told to teach our children about the Easter Bunny. And my wife got in so much trouble because she wasn't having any Easter Bunny or Santa Claus shit. And first time my kids went on to, the bus stop, they were mad at Sue. What'd you tell my kids there was no Santa Claus for?
Yeah,
Here's
but
the hard part. Are you ready?
the point is that you're one man on a planet with, gosh, they say 8 or 9 billion people. I don't even know if that's true or not. But you're one man
It's a
who's
lot.
what's that?
It's a lot. Whatever their number is, it's a lot. It's the sand of the sea type numbers out there.
Yeah, but what makes you? It's just like I could say to a Catholic or a Presbyterian or a Mormon or Jehovah's Witness, what makes you right and everybody else wrong? And how do you prove that? It's kind of like being two kids on a playground going, my dad will beat up your dad. No, my dad will be. It's like you never know until the dads get together and they start rumbling. So, and there's no way you can get two gods together because the Mormon God is different from the Catholic God, which is different from the Jehovah's Witness
Big
God.
time, yeah.
You're never going to get those together. So it's almost like an unprovable fallacy. Like, no, just believe my story. The rocks are the Titans. No, hold on a second. Just believe my story. The rocks are the Titans. Or there was a great flood, or they got. Go ahead.
Unless I could back it up and show rocks and break them down with what I call nephorensics, where you break the stone down and say, this is the chamber of the heart. Now, there has a chiropractor from Spain that's been doing that for 8 years. They call it biogeology. And because you haven't heard that there are people teaching that the rocks are crying out, doesn't mean it's not a worldwide thing, worldwide because it's flat. Now, the hard part, if you could give me 20, 30 seconds, is that there is a veil being lifted. Revelation 20 says that after the 1,000 years, Satan must be loosed again for a short time. And while he's in the pit for 1,000 years, he can no longer deceive the nations any longer.
And you believe that?
Yes. And at the end of the 1,000 years, I believe that 2 angels put in their sickle and there was a great reaping, and we were shrunk down again to where right now, through normal breeding, I guess we're up to 8 billion, a guess, but it's a lot. And the Bible teaches that Satan is going to reform the nations. And when he's ready, that's when it says Gog and Magog is going to happen. They'll encompass the saints, which are going to be hiding, because we don't draw a line in the sand and fight back. We run away and hide in the caves again, because we're not going to take the upcoming forced vaccine. That's not a part of our future. We're not going to be in a city when 5G goes down and people start cooking and eating each other. We're going to be in the mountains having our bonfires, being safe, giving clean water to children and good food, not, oh, daddy's going to leave and get a farm pretty soon, but the 401k won't be vested until 3 more years, Junior.
Okay, you went way beyond 30 seconds, but you went away from my original question. Let me bring you back, because this is the core of the issue right here. If inserted in those Revelation verses, Gog and Magog, Satan going over, establishing his kingdom and all that stuff, if in those verses, and you believe that, you believe all of that to be true.
Absolutely.
If the writers at that time, whenever that was written, whoever it was written by, that you accept as the canon of Scripture and the very words of God, if at that time they inserted something about, say, the Easter Bunny or SpongeBob, you would also believe that, because that is in the Bible. And I'm saying that to say this, not to mock you, but I am saying that to say there are millions upon millions of people, and this is not a testimony to the majority, okay? But there are millions and millions of people who carry completely different beliefs, who don't believe that, and you can see how, from somebody else's perspective, believing that sounds crazy, that the angels will plunge their sickles into the harvest, and the rider on the white horse will have, he has a sword in his hand and he's smiting the nations. You can see how that does sound like it's just completely fictitious and made up, right?
You do understand, and
I just need a yes or no on that. I just need a yes or no.
I do understand.
Okay.
I do understand. And what makes the difference? Did God come to bring peace and joy and happiness to everybody, or did he come to bring division?
How do you know he came to bring division? How do you know?
There's a Bible verse that said Christ
and
came
if it's
to bring
and that's my You just made my point. If it's in the Bible, you're going to believe it, no matter how outlandish it might sound, right?
Where's the outlandish stuff? What's outlandish about what's in the scripture?
That a God is going to come back with a white robe, with a sword, which is the word of his mouth, and he will strike the nations, and then the blood will rise as high as the horses' bridles for 1,200 stadia. That sounds outlandish.
You understand that he's a self-identified God who loves to reward people who diligently seek him.
Whoever the figure is, and I'm so glad we can have this conversation, but whoever that figure is on the white horse, and we take it to be the King of Kings of the Lord of Lords, right? That's who it is.
Right.
Do you see how that just sounds? It sounds childish. It sounds like somebody just made it up in a storybook, and you're choosing to believe it.
I'm choosing to believe that I'm going to be metamorphosed into a spirit being.
Okay, but aside from that,
you have some sort of a physical presence, but I will.
But hold on, you as an adult are choosing to believe that the King of Kings and Lords of Lords will come around and just smite the nations, and blood is just going to be flowing everywhere.
Has come around. That's past tense.
When did that happen?
Over.
When did that happen?
Before the last person of that generation died, because he said, "Some of you will be alive and remain when I come back," and it happens.
You talking about when John was on the island of Patmos?
I'm talking about when John was on the island of Patmos is one thing. I'm talking about when Jesus Christ said over and over again, it's this generation will not pass away until I return with my kingdom, and these people will be judged. This is a wicked generation. You chose Barabbas. You washed your hands. That's over.
Right, but you're believing.
He said, flee to the mountains. They did.
Right. But it's established that you believe every word that the Bible says, and you take it to be the words of God.
Well, I know that there's a lot of research to be done on the John D version because even if you're not a King James only, his 007 secret agent, Queen Victoria, is an occult astrologer. He polluted the scripture. Yeah, we have to study the Greek and the Hebrew diligently, constantly, and we do nightly.
If there is a person who is going to come back on a white horse in a white robe, and his garments will be spattered. Okay. But this is all just a belief. You don't know this for a fact. You just believe it, right?
Just like, I didn't believe that gold came in veins till God proved it to me, until I did a autopsy of a trilobite and found out it was the midbrain of a titan, or somebody that died like men because of the people made in Genesis 1. They were in the image of a male and female.
Genesis, yeah, but you're not answering my question. I just need a yes or no.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to get to the one point that isn't a question. That just give me another 30 seconds.
I know, but you're not answering. But you got
by God, they'll never understand.
I know. I got to move on to this next. I got like 10, 11 people in the room, but I got to move on. But I just want to.
For your time.
No, I'm not done. Unless you want to be done. But do you believe this stuff in the Bible, or do you know it to be a fact?
Like
is
I
it
said,
just a belief?
I've been on 2 vision quests. It is more than a belief with me. Everything's coming true. It's why I'm in Alamosa. It's why I'm trying to expose the Zorro Ranch that is like 60 miles away. I'm on scholarship
but do you believe,
at university. I'm at.
Is it just because you believe the Bible, or do you,
because an Epstein girl?
Yeah, but you're not like Epstein. That's a completely different issue. It's a different issue about the Bible and being the Word of God. You're
I'm his Paco.
Hold on a second. We just need to establish you're choosing to believe it, but you don't know it to be true. Or do you know it to be true? You're breaking up.
Yeah, something's going wrong. I have plenty of bars on my thing.
Yeah, I'm on 5G. I've got a lightning fast internet speed. But the thing is, I don't even know if it's true or not. I don't even know if he said it or not. But if you can, I've witnessed this because it's inherent in people who take a uniform and call themselves law enforcement or politicians. They believe something. What they believe is they can order other people around. They have a higher claim over the life and property of other people. They actually believe that, to where they make laws on pieces of paper, and then other people call law enforcers enforce. Hold on a second. Enforce those laws. And if you can make somebody believe an absurdity, and what you just said truly sounds, I'm just being honest, sounds absolutely absurd to me, that if I go get a rock out of my garden, this is a piece of a titan. Okay. I don't believe that. I think it's ludicrous. I think it's on par with Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and all this other nonsense that they taught us as kids. And I just want you to be honest. You believe this, but you don't know this to be a fact.
No. I believe we are living stones, and I wouldn't be doing this. This is my eternal security. My salvation is based on what I teach as a veil being lifted that will slowly, and like I said, you will look at the scriptures. You read Revelation 19 and you'll see it has to be a gap of 1,000 years. We've been brainwashed. Your previous guest, Peanut, wanted to talk about, the Quran is copied. Yeah, it's a non-Trinitarian hymnal from Syria, who the Roman Catholics were filleting and cooking people alive because they didn't believe in a Trinity.
I see all this other stuff is off in the weeds. The bottom line is, you truly believe these, what other people would perceive to be fairy tales, but it's only a belief. This is not knowing on your part. This is just belief.
No, and it's all based on my interpretation of scripture.
Could you be wrong about everything that you believe?
Somebody was going to have to show me where.
No,
Somebody
could you be wrong?
Pick a spot and show me where.
I'm just looking
I'm saying I'm probably wrong about, every day we sin in word, thought, and deed. We don't even know.
Yeah, it's hard to stay on point when somebody is, kind of going off into these tangents. But I will post the link, and but I want to read a comment that I saw that came up, and it's will I be able to find it? Here it is. Brian, Christians are not the problem. You should respect them because they are trying to do good, unlike most people. Wow. Where are they? Show me. No. Unlike most people, Christians are good. See, it's that kind of thinking that leads to an awful lot of division and violence. And, it's unfortunate, but it's also a matter of arrogance. And look at me, I'm good. Most people aren't. And what's the definition of good? What is it? Is it doing good, or just thinking you're good because you're Christian? All right. I found it interesting. Maybe others didn't, but look at this, man. It's still going on. Wow. Okay. We've got more that are in Kansas that are developing now, but we still have this line. It looks quite obvious that this is not natural, right? Right. Okay. And Ohio, Indiana, that's not looking good. Neither is Alabama, but wow, they're being extinguished quickly, very quickly, except for this little row down here. Tired of it? I am very tired of this. But the other thing that is really remarkable is a whole lot of Christians have left comments for me. They know the truth. No one else does. Okay. Well, that's an arrogance that leads to division and anger and, you know, because they believe that the Bible is true. Well, it's their belief. Belief is not fact, and hardened belief can lead to people no longer thinking, no longer critically thinking. So we have our tornado warning. Okay, tornado warning way up north. Is that Ohio or it's Ohio? All right. You've got, well, how many? We've got 10, Arizona, Indiana, Kansas, North Carolina, Ohio, and the tornado warnings are in Fulton County, Ohio, and Wood County, Ohio. And then you have all of the other counties with severe thunderstorm. But remember, severe thunderstorms now come about with a lot of dangerous weather. Very large hail, tornadic activity, straight line winds, microbursts, hurricane winds, flash flooding. Okay, so I will post the link. And yeah, I still maintain that it is very, very important to question what you believe in. Question it, because you might be wrong. So please stay safe and help those who are hurting and in need. And yeah, let's not cause any division. Let's try to heal it as best we can. Thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow. Good night, good luck, and ciao.